In the movie's opening scene, we meet Miranda, a nurse who dreams of becoming a surgical nurse. She observes a surgery with great interest at the hospital where she works. Unfortunately, while caring for an elderly patient, the patient passes away. Miranda informs the patient's son that his mother did not suffer much before her passing, but he expresses disappointment and reveals he wanted her to suffer more. Miranda is shocked to learn the son did not love his mother and only visited her to witness her suffering. After work, Miranda stops by a laundry shop, where she notices a man flirting with a female employee. As she rushes out, the girl asks her to sign a receipt, but Miranda's hands are trembling, which could jeopardize her aspiration of becoming a surgical nurse if not overcome. Miranda visits her father the next day and discovers he has a new dog that attacks her, causing damage to her clothes. Despite her anger, her father intervenes and takes her inside where they discuss her plans to move. Her father is happy to have her visit and takes her to a restaurant where a fellow diner chokes. Miranda quickly uses a plastic tube to open his airway, saving his life with her courage and skill. The next day, Miranda's friend asks her to bake a cake, which she agrees to since it is also her hobby. Her friend also arranges a date for her with a guy named Kevin, whom she recommends. Miranda accepts the date invitation and is excited about it. However, when a man shows up at her door earlier than expected, she assumes it is Kevin and lets him in. The man helps her with the delivery, but Miranda becomes suspicious of him due to his clothing and early arrival. She goes to change her clothes and offers him lemonade, but upon returning, she feels uncomfortable around him. Miranda asks him to leave and return at the agreed time, but he refuses and locks the door. Despite her threats to call the police, he proceeds to rape her and then flees. Later, Miranda finds out that the man's name is William, not Kevin. The real Kevin arrives at her house later on. Kevin enters Miranda's room and notices that the front door of the house is open. Upon investigating, he finds Miranda in distress and contacts the authorities, who quickly take her to the hospital. The police and media arrive at the hospital and request to interview Miranda about the incident. They ask if she recognizes the perpetrator, and she recalls encountering him at a restaurant with her father where she saved his life. She identifies the employee based on his attire. Meanwhile, William tries to flee the city but stops at the restaurant to collect money from his employer before being apprehended by the police. Miranda's dad has been a pillar of strength for her during tough times, providing a roof over her head. When he visits her old house, he finds the aftermath of the incident that forced her to leave. While tidying up, he discovers a childhood photo of Miranda on the fridge, which brings him to tears. Meanwhile, Miranda is irritated by her dad's dog's incessant barking and slams the door shut. Despite her injuries healing, Miranda faces financial difficulties as her house remains unsold. Despite feeling judged, Miranda remains strong-willed. An estate agent suggests she spruce up her home with plants to lure potential buyers. While planting at home, Miranda's dad visits and notices her mistakes. She shares a frustrating incident causing her hands to shake more. While decorating a cake, she makes many mistakes due to lack of concentration, but receives a surgical gain from a friend to distract her. Despite this, Miranda continues to struggle, leading to increased distress and inability to focus. A senior doctor later informs her about missing an orientation and warns of possible consequences. Miranda expresses her desire to avoid transfer to the surgical department, but the doctor reassures her that she has worked hard and need not take drastic action. Miranda goes to the laundry shop, but is told by the attendant that her clothes payment has no record. Miranda claims she has already paid, but an argument ensues. She criticizes the attendant's attire, and things get worse, resulting in a physical fight. However, Miranda proves her payment by showing the receipt, and she leaves after that. Miranda is tired of being a victim. She tries to play a game when she gets home, but her hands are too shaky. This makes her feel very sad, until one day she comes up with a plan. She writes a letter to William, who is in jail, and sends it to him. After that, she starts feeling better, and her colleagues and acquaintances notice her improved mood. She has to live in her unsold house and has to maintain it. After noticing the poor condition of the windows, she replaces them and makes other improvements. Her father tries to install a swing from her childhood, but she stops him, saying it is not needed. He assumes it will bring back memories, but Miranda disagrees, explaining he doesn't understand the situation. She later receives the returned letter she had sent. One day, Miranda is at the hospital where she gets a call about her injured father, who is taking care of his dog. She has to take care of the pet. Despite the initial dislike from the dog, Miranda wins the dog's affection by feeding it and writes letters to William during this time. William replies, "You won." Miranda later visits William, who confesses to his mistakes and gives her the opportunity to confront him. However, Miranda only wants to see if she is still afraid of him, which she isn't. William explains that Miranda hasn't moved out of her house because the address on the letter is unchanged. This frightens Miranda, but she regains her composure and admits that her plans have changed. Later, she returns to her father's house and feeds the dog. It becomes clear that she is using the same method to control the dog as she is to control William. When her father questions her newfound affection for the dog, she confesses that she knows if she becomes scared, the situation will only get worse. Soon after, William invites her to meet him, and they discuss their shared interest in fixing things. Miranda also asks about the food at the prison, which William's reaction suggests is not very good. Miranda and William start meeting frequently and open up about their mothers. Miranda's mother dies due to asthma, and William's mother leaves him when he is young. William expresses remorse for his past actions and a desire to make amends. Miranda later shares with her father about their dog's lethargy due to old age. William sends Miranda a letter about his release on parole on Christmas. Sadly, the family dog passes away, and Miranda takes responsibility for comforting her father and giving the dog a respectful burial. William visits the hospital to leave roses for Miranda after getting out of prison. Miranda reminds him that he cannot bring flowers to her workplace. However, William expresses his wish to stay in touch with her, and Miranda agrees to let him call her anytime. Later, William goes to Miranda's house and apologizes, and Miranda gives him some tasks to do, but does not let him inside. William notices a hole in the roof and offers to fix it, which Miranda accepts. William goes to a hardware store to buy supplies to fix a hole. While there, he shows the blueprints of his house to an employee. Miranda's father is also present and recognizes William. Upon examining the blueprints, he becomes angry and visits Miranda's house to demand why William is there. Miranda explains that William is there to help with repairs and that she wants to move on from the past. However, her father remains angry and storms out. William overhears their conversation and offers to leave, but Miranda insists that he stays and continues to help her. William works on the roof while keeping an eye on Miranda, who offers him drinks. After consuming them, William faints. After William wakes up, he finds out that Miranda has already operated on him and removed his genitals. He feels numb and disoriented, unsure of what has transpired. When he asks Miranda about his situation, she reveals that his condition, being a rapist, cannot be treated. William then realizes that he is tied to a chair and witnesses the aftermath of Miranda's actions. Nevertheless, he maintains his conviction that Miranda, who is known for saving lives, would not have taken his life because she is not a killer. She claimed to have used the same poison on both William and the dog, rendering William unconscious. When a knock was heard at the door, William tried to shout out, but Miranda stopped him by covering his mouth and left to collect a pen that had been delivered. When Miranda returned to William, he expressed his fear but also his conviction that she was not a murderer. Miranda replied by stating that she always acts according to her beliefs. She confesses to him that she was responsible for her mother's death, which raises concerns about whether she might harm him too. It is revealed that she had hidden medication from her mother, leading to her mother's demise. Later, she visits her father, who advises her that her actions have serious consequences and should not be taken lightly, as they could affect her entire life. Miranda's statement, "William will never return to cause any disturbance again," implies that she may have killed him. The movie ends in a shocking manner after she takes her revenge.